Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss about watershed delineation. Let's have a look on watershed delineation. There are two basic steps involved in watershed delineation. First of all, choose the point of the watershed outlet. This is generally our point of interest for designing a structure or monitoring location. Step 2, delineate the watershed boundary by drawing perpendicular line across the elevation of contour lines for the land that drains to the point of interest. A watershed boundary always runs perpendicular to the contour line. For the delineation of watershed boundary, first of all, we have to understand a contour map features. What is contour? The primary lines on a topographic maps are called contour lines, which represent the 3D landscape. The contour lines connect the point of equal elevation, always close back on themselves. Some of these lines are numbered and those numbers are the elevation of those contour lines. You can move across contour lines and know if the elevation is increasing or decreasing by whether the number is increasing or decreasing. Then the streams and rivers are shown by blue lines. Solid blue lines show perennial streams and the dashed blue lines show the intermittent streams. This is the topographical maps in which contour lines are shown. The contour lines are brown color in which the index contour values are marked along the contour lines, that is 1100 and 1150. In the blue arrow mark which shows the hill, the top of hills are indicated by irregularly shaped ovals or circles. Let me have a look on direction of water flow. Slope direction is calculated perpendicular to the contour lines. So the direction of water flow is always perpendicular to the contour lines since this is the steepest slope. The delineation of watershed boundary are mainly based on topography. In the topography, the main focus has given to the hills and ridges. In this contour map, the ridges are indicated by large rounded U-shaped contour lines. The blue arrow mark in the contour line which indicate the ridges. Similarly, drainage paths are indicated by V-shaped contour lines. In the contour map, the blue arrow mark which shows the drainage path that flows towards downward. The flow path goes through the approximate center of the V in the contour lines. Look at the contour map in which blue arrow mark which indicate the flow path of a river and it flows perpendicular to the contour lines. The following contour map which shows the nested nature of drainage basin or river basin as a determined from a topographic map, in which the red lines describe the watershed for the drainage basin of first order stream and the yellow lines define the watershed for two drainage basin from location further upstream. Note that the first order basin are components of this much larger drainage basin and the water which flow perpendicular to the contour line. Let us move on to the basic steps involved in the delineation of watershed. First, boundary defined by all points that shed water to the outlet. Step 2, identify ridge line from topo sheet. Step 3, water will travel perpendicular to the elevation. Step 4, contour which is the direction that maximizes slope. And finally, the watershed boundary is delineated by drawing lines perpendicular to the elevation of contour lines for land that drains to outlet. This is the picture which shows that how to delineate a watershed boundary using a printed topographical maps. First of all, mark the high points adjacent to the stream or lake. And also mark the arrow which shows the direction of flow. The water always flows perpendicular to the contour lines. That is, it flows downhill. After that, connecting the high points, that is ridges, summit or hills along one side of the water body. This line should always cross the contours at right angles That is, it should be perpendicular to each contour line it crosses. This is a typical watershed. All land is in a watershed. Watershed boundaries can be drawn to show smaller parts of a larger watershed. Watersheds can be drawn for any area. The point chosen as the watershed outlet determines the boundaries. For the delineation of any watershed, first of all, identify the watershed outlet. In the given topographical maps, a small river has identified and marked the outlet with a line and labeled as cap letter A. An outlet is the outlet or pour points. Is the points on the surface at which the water flows out of an area. It is the lowest point along the boundary of a watershed. After that, highlight the water courses and flow direction. Then mark the drainage line. Then look for ridgeline, hills and mark the high points. Then visualize surface flow direction from high points. Finally, trace outline of watershed beginning at outlet, connecting all high points. The contour always cross at right angles and finally form a closed and continuous boundary. Thank you everyone.